You're watching India Today with me, Nabila Jamal. We're bringing you all the latest coming in from Kabul on the blast that's just taken place outside the Kabul airport. Third blast in last 4 days outside the Hamid Karzai International Airport that rocks Kabul city. The blast has now claimed 2 lives. People near the scene have said that 1 child has been killed and 2 others were also injured in this blast that struck a civilian area, a residential building. In fact, witnesses say that an explosion was heard in the Gulai area of Khajeh Baghra near the airport after a rocket has hit a house near the Kabul airport. Remember, this explosion has taken place in Gulai area of Khajeh Baghra near the airport after a rocket has hit the house near the Kabul airport. It appears to have been a target that was missed by the terrorist group who were intending to strike at the airport. Now, the third blast comes just hours after US President Joe Biden had issued a strict warning for another terror attack at the Kabul airport. Remember, the United States and other countries, including the United Kingdom, you have Denmark, you have Australia, strictly warning people, civilians as well as the citizens, that a threat could be looming large. Several attacks could take place right along the airport. Do not come to the airport area because a strict terror attack, a warning of a strict warning they're coming of a terror attack at the Kabul airport that's been sent out. Now, you have developments coming in from Kabul where you have at least 2 people who've been killed in this attack and 1 child, it appears, has in fact been killed in this rocket strike that's just launched. In fact, it struck a residential area in Kabul right along the Kabul airport.
As I said, the Taliban...
That's just taken place. Remember, you have the ISIS-K that's taken responsibility for the previous 2 attacks, and it appears that they themselves have attacked and strike yet again along the Kabul airport. And it's interesting to note, our reporter on ground, Naveed Sultani, very clearly says that the target was the airport. It was the Kabul airport, but somehow they managed to miss the target, and it's struck a civilian area, a residential locality that's hit a residential building, in fact, and 2 people have died, including a child. Eyewitnesses claim that a child has also succumbed to this attack. In fact, this is a rocket that's hit a residential building in a bid to strike the airport. It's missed its target and now struck a residential area, a residential building, killing 2 as of the moment. This is the figure that we get officially right now. India Today is the only channel bringing you the credible report from ground Kabul. In fact, our reporters there giving us a perspective into the kind of chaos and violence that's currently taking place, the darkest hour Afghanistan faces at the moment. You have visuals coming in. There you have people running helter-skelter right after the blast took place in the residential area of Kabul, which is very, very close to the Kabul airport. Remember, the target for the terrorist group was the Kabul airport itself. In fact, this comes right after the United States President Joe Biden had claimed to hunt down the ISIS-K terrorists for the blast that took place just 2 days ago, killing at least 13 US Marines and 107 civilians. In fact, the death toll currently is only mounting, with 183 people, we believe, is the official figure, who have succumbed to the first round of blasts, the coordinated blasts that has been carried out by the ISIS-K. In fact, even the Human Rights Commission, the UN Human Rights Commission, has very clearly stated that this could be a collaborated attack by the ISIS-K and the Haqqani network. And the reason behind the attack, we believe, is that they want to show their might, their strength, their power right after Taliban takes over. And as per the Taliban, they do not have links with the ISIS-K and the Haqqani network, the terrorist group, who have unleashed violence since 2015, ever since their formation. ISIS-K has also spread its wings to Iraq and Syria. In fact, they're trying to make some noise, show their strength and power, and also threaten the United States as well as Taliban itself to show that they want it their way. In fact, you have Amrullah Saleh, who is the face of the resistant front, saying that it's very hard to believe that the Taliban has no links with the ISIS-K and the Haqqani network. It's somehow the same people coming from the same background, the same breed. It's very difficult to believe that the Taliban disassociating from the ISIS-K is not something that's very easy for Afghans to believe. Now, you have earlier the United States that's launched a drone strike. In fact, Joe Biden, the President of the United States, had very clearly said that he will hunt down those terrorists and ensure that they will pay for the terror strikes, the twin strikes that took place at the Kabul airport just days earlier. The US, in turn, launched a counterattack, a drone strike against the ISIS-K after the devastating twin attacks on Thursday. However, that did not seem to deter the attackers, and it appears that another round of attack has been carried out by the ISIS-K. They struck a civilian area, a residential area this time. Apparently, their target was the Kabul airport, but they've somehow missed the target, and the rocket has struck a residential area that's now officially killed 2, including a child.
August 26, evening. Twin blasts rock Kabul airport. Over 150 killed, including 13 US servicemen. Hours later, a stern declaration from the President of the United States, Joe Biden, vowing to hunt down the attackers and make them pay.
Good afternoon. To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
And now, within 48 hours of the Kabul attacks, the US strikes back. US military carried out drone strikes in the Nangarhar province of Afghanistan in the early hours of Saturday. US claims that mastermind of the Kabul airport attack and a key member of Islamic State, Khorasan, was killed. Following the midnight drone strike, US issued a security alert for its citizens in Afghanistan, asking them to immediately leave areas near Kabul airport gates. The alert came a day after Biden was informed by his national security team that another airport-style attack was imminent.
The national security team the president met with this morning advised the president and vice president that another terror attack in Kabul is likely, and they are taking maximum force protection measures at the Kabul airport. The Department of Defense also just gave a briefing this morning, and I will echo some of the descriptions that they offered. The threat is ongoing and it is active.
The situation at the Kabul airport remains tense after Thursday's attack. Once teeming with people, the airport wore a deserted look a day after the attack, as seen in the Maxar satellite images accessed by India Today.
मैं फिलहाल जो काबुल नेशनल एयरपोर्ट जनरल गेट्स है उसके पास हूँ। इधर जो तालिबान सिक्योरिटी का रिस्पॉन्सिबल है वो लोगों को इजाज़त नहीं दी सकती है। इधर आप देख रहे हैं कि कोई लोग नहीं है डर की वजह से, और एहतिमाल भी है कि ख़तरा भी है कि कोई धमाका हो सकता है। इस डर की वजह से लोग वहाँ खड़े हैं जो लोग करना चाहते हैं।
The response from US has been swift. There are fears over fate of millions of Afghans after the impending withdrawal of foreign troops from the country. Will the ISIS continue to snuff out precious lives as it did on Thursday? Will the Taliban be able to provide safety to Afghan citizens? These are big questions the world is looking for answers to. This report filed with inputs from Hamid Karzai in Kabul for India Today.
Well, I'm going to quickly cut across to Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor, to give us an insight into the blast that's taken place right here outside the Kabul airport, in fact, very close to the airport. Geeta, it appears that the ISIS-K has struck yet again. Doesn't seem like the US counterstrike has deterred them. It appears that their target was the Kabul airport, but they've missed their target. The rocket has struck a residential building very close to the Kabul airport. Do confirm the number of people who've succumbed to this attack, the terrorist attack.
Well, For now, these are only initial reports coming in. We do not have a confirmation as such on the figures and casualty figures, but it certainly is not going to be as high as was the case when they right outside the Kabul airport. These are initial reports that are coming in of a supposedly rocket strike in a residential area very close to the airport, and the casualty figures only now, but injured, of course, are more than that. But again, we no confirmation of any foreign national having been struck or having fallen victim to this attack, given that this is not absolutely outside the airport area or the road approach roads towards the Kabul airport gates. It is in residential area here as well. This is the Gulai area in Kabul, right, very close to the airport where the explosion has taken place, and Afghan media reports suggest that this was a rocket attack. This comes just a day after there were reports of intelligence inputs saying that there could be more such attacks as was witnessed on the 26th of August. This is to be a very, very serious issue, given that we're seeing a rocket attack within Kabul city. If the terrorist organizations, the earlier attack was claimed by ISIS-Khorasan, or for that matter, Khorasan, or for that matter, the agency said that ISIS-Khorasan is to be blamed for the earlier attack. We do not know exactly whether if this also is the handiwork of ISIS-K, but we're waiting for an official word on who's behind the second attack as well. But Nabila, what is really serious, what is really a matter of concern over here is the fact that if rockets have been brought within the limits of the city of Kabul, then there is a serious problem here. And this, for now, we're given to understand that the rocket fell in a residential area. If this were if this was again an area or the approach road towards Kabul airport, then the casualty figures would have been way higher, and we would have known at an immediate basis, on how bad the magnitude of the attack and the number of casualties that have fallen to this attack. Because this is a residential area, number of people would be very less. It's a house that was struck, but again, a lot of people reporting that this was a rocket attack that was aimed at the Kabul airport or outside the Kabul airport, but fell into a residential area. A powerful explosion at that. If you listen to the videos that are coming in, you can hear a lot of people who are recording the video. You can hear the kind of panic it created in and around Kabul airport area. So yet another massive explosion. We are yet to understand how many people have fallen victim. For now, initial reports say that 2 people have been killed in the explosion, but the numbers could rise, although it will not be to the extent that we saw when the attack took place outside the airport. It is around the area of Kabul airport, so serious matter that this is a high alert area for now. Last time we saw foreign nationals also having fallen victim to the attack. This time around, in all probability, because it is a residential area and a house was struck, you can see the visuals over there. House is where the rocket fell, and people are trying to douse the fire. And the smoke that's bellowing shows the kind of magnitude of the attack. But because it's a residential area, in all probability, the casualties would be less. In any other time, Nabila, we would have said it's a residential area, so the matter is very serious, and there would be victims. This time around, it's the reverse. Because it's a residential area, the number of victims could be lower than that if the rocket would have hit the area where it was intended to, which is right outside Kabul airport, despite warnings of an imminent terror attack that intelligence agencies of various countries have been putting out. People are still gathering outside the airport just to make their way inside the airport so they can fly out of Afghanistan.
Well, thank you very much, Geeta. And that's established that despite the terror strikes, we're looking at Afghans, particularly in desperate attempt to flee the country. They're still gathering around the airport area, and it appears that this is a great situation, quite lucrative for the terrorist organizations like ISIS-K as well as Haqqani Network, who the United Nations believe have attacked in collaboration. They've come together to carry a series of terror strikes right there at the Kabul airport. And like Geeta very rightly mentioned, the arms and ammunitions quite sophisticated. Now rockets are being used to launch attacks, terror strikes in Kabul right as we speak. So here are the live visuals coming in from different parts of around the Kabul airport. In fact, of course, over the days, we're looking at the last 2 days to today, situation only a lot more sensitive after the terror strikes, but that does not mean that people have been demotivated from coming to the airport. Unfortunately, despite the terror strikes, we are looking at several Afghans in a desperate bid to flee the country, rushing towards the Kabul airport, only to get a seat in one of those evacuation flights so they could flee the country. On this note, I'm going to leave you right here. I'm going to come back with news and updates on the other side. Stay tuned.